Hello, everybody. I'm Pierre,
And I'm Selena.
and you are about to hear about our experience searching for homes in Puerto
Puerto Rico.
Rico. So, we're gonna get started. Where would you like to start at?
How about why we decided on Puerto Rico?
Ooh, that's a good one. So the reason why I wanted to move to Puerto Rico is because we had been over there so many times on vacation, and we have friends that's from there that I work with. And after going to the island so many times, the people, the culture, the island itself, it drew me in, and I finally found the love of another place, and I really fell in love with the island.
Well, some of the same reasons here. I love Puerto Rico. It's very nice and relaxing. As soon as you land on an airplane, you definitely know you're in a different location. The weather is very nice year round. The people are very kind and helpful. Anything that you need, if they have it, they can help you. They will help you with it. And I had this desire to retire on an island. And when I retire, I wanted to just walk around and collect seashells. So in Puerto Rico, I will be able to do that.
Isn't she pretty? Okay, so yeah, so we started searching different areas. We at first didn't know what area we wanted to be in, but after looking at the different places and the different areas, we had a list, kind of like in order of the places that we wanted. And I know for me, I really like the Rio Grande area, so that was like my choice at first. And Selena,
I like areas that are near things. I didn't want to be up in the mountains. I like the southern part of the island, like Ponce, but to me it was far away from lots and lots of things that I wanted to experience. So for me, I liked like around the airport, San Juan, Carolina. I did like Rio Grande, and Cantano.
yeah,
Absolutely love Cantano. I think Cantano is one of the hidden secrets of Puerto Rico.
yeah, I quickly learned that from Selena that was her number one. Our friends live there, so our next trip we decided to stay. Actually, that same trip we decided to stay with his sister-in-law. So we stayed with her, and we really liked the vibe of being in the neighborhood over there. We felt very comfortable. We I think we met a couple people, a couple of the neighbors, and everybody was nice. It was really quiet. They had their times. They had their parades through the Las Vegas. So it was really exciting when they did the drive around impromptu parade, cars blowing their horns and flashing the lights, and it was good. You caught that southern drawl, didn't you? So yeah, Cantano was like at the top of the list for us right off the bat. We did have some areas that we like other than Cantano, but it kind of like ended up being our number one. Yeah, yeah. And we'll get to some of the areas that we looked in, but we want to talk about the obstacles first.
Okay. So one of the obstacles that we had was we went down to Puerto Rico for about 10 days, and we're using classificados, we're using Zillow, we're using realtor.com to find lots of houses. So we had a big old list of houses we wanted to look at, and we were driving around and we noticed that the addresses were not correct for the houses. So we actually were sitting where this house should be, and the house is nowhere to be found. We even drove, like the house in Bayamon, the gray house. It was a gray house, $80,000. It looked like it had been newly renovated. We still have not found that house since November. We still haven't found that house. Another obstacle was inheritance.
Yes.
So they have inheritance rules in Puerto Rico. You pretty much is saying that you can't disinherit anyone. So if you buy a house and you have children, those children are going to have some rights to that house. And God forbid something happens to you, then most of those people are going to have to sign to actually sell the house.
Yes. And the good thing on that is they did come out with a new law that's have some different clauses in it now,
Right.
which is a lot better, because the inheritance law that was in place was from way back.
Right, so
I
do your
researched it.
research. Yeah, do your research
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
the inheritance thing, because it could take anywhere from 30 days to months, depending
never.
to never, to actually buy a house, waiting on signatures from family members.
Yeah, yeah. Another obstacle is maybe not really bad obstacle, but finding a good realtor is a challenge. So if you're gonna be using a realtor, just keep calling, leave messages, and the good realtors, they're gonna call you back. The ones who don't call you back, they're either too busy or don't want your money, I guess. I don't know. But we found a couple good realtors on Classificados and also on Zillow. So the ones that stick to my mind is Chris and Marilyn, and I'll put their information down in the bottom somewhere after the video, so you'll be able to click the link to their page. They were very, 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 very helpful.
However, many realtors in Puerto Rico, they don't want to work with another realtor, so they don't want to split that realtor fee or whatever it is. And a lot of homeowners, they might not want to work with realtors, and so then you have to go through the process, possibly using an attorney, a lawyer, instead of using a realtor.
All right, and financing versus paying cash. So on the financing tip, some of the things that we found out towards the end when we was going to finance was that there's two different, well, they have different types, and one of them are rural financing. So that means you have to have the house or your property that you're getting in the rural area, and it wouldn't cover a home that you might be getting into the city or the urbanization. So definitely check on that, because it's a big deal. You go through the whole process of getting your loan approved to find out that you can't use it for the property that you're going to purchase. So that's definitely one in the financing.
And also with financing, a lot of homeowners, they don't want to deal with banks, because if you're using a bank, it could take up to 6 months or longer to buy a house, and nobody knows why it takes so long. They just know that it really does take that long. So we had a lot of people that we did our financing, we had a pre-approval letter and everything, and some people, they were like, no, we want cash, we don't want to deal with the bank, we want to sell it right away. So that was one thing. And then in Puerto Rico, I feel like it's just my opinion, but a lot of people don't trust certain banks. So if you have financing through certain banks, they're like, well, can you use our bank, or can you just pay cash or whatever, because they don't have a whole bunch of faith in certain banks.
Yeah, and I'll just say what the bank is, because everybody kind of knows. Banco Popular is not very popular for loans for homes. We got approved through them. The process was very easy. The people were very nice. It's just that the people on the other side didn't want to deal with them. So we didn't want to get into the why. So we opted to pay cash. So we procured our funds and we were ready to purchase with a cash offer.
So we got a rental car and we went to see our first house that was beautiful. It was in Bayview, which is part of Cantano. And we looked at the house, we rode by the house, we did research on the house, and everything. Then we went to a website, I think it was realtor.com. And so on Zillow, the house was for sale. And on another website, the house was for sale. But this other website showed us that the house had been sold 2 years ago. And it was a perfect house. You could even see the bay from this house. So that was our first experience with finding a house and then the house not really being available.
Yeah. And so we quickly moved our sights on, because you can't get stuck on the one property, trust me. So we start going down our hit list, and we had another one that was in a Bayview area we went to look at, and it wasn't what we both wanted. So we ended up going into the neighborhood of our friends and Las Vegas, Cantano. So we instantly fell in love with this house. It was a 2-story, and it had roof damage from a previous storm that hadn't been addressed, and it was empty. And Selena really fell in love with this house.
Right. I love the house because when I think about living in Puerto Rico, the house had everything that I wanted. It was 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, and upstairs was damaged, but it was like 2 more bedrooms upstairs and a bathroom. And so I just had all these dreams about the beautiful things that we can do with this house. And it was priced really great because we knew that we were going to have to make repairs and everything, but the heritage issues with the house, and so I think we made an offer like in December, and in March of the next year, those inheritance issues still were not resolved. And the crazy thing about this is people told us that if you have inheritance issues, this was the best case scenario because the people who they had actually passed away. So it was like she would just have to prove that the people passed away, and everyone else who was alive wanted the house sold so they could sign. But needless to say, in March, that was it. We decided against that house in March.
So I had kind of set a deadline, and we got to that deadline, and that day I contacted one of the first homes that we saw on Clasificados that we didn't even act on, but it caught our eye right off the bat, and it was the yellow house that's in Puerto Nuevo. So we contacted the owner, and we had a communication and a dialogue, and everything was going well, and we got an attorney, and so we was on our way to the second choice, which kind of was our first choice. We just didn't act on it initially. So
it was at the top of our budget.
Yeah, it was at the top of our budget, and you hear about that. So we got our attorney through some friends of ours who also lived in Virginia, and they purchased a home in Isabella. And so we got with him, and he gave us his attorney information, and we just started rocking and rolling on the process. So,
and the Puerto Nuevo house, the owners did not want to deal with realtors at all. She would not even accept phone calls from realtors,
which was perfect.
All right, so it saved us money because we had no realtor fees for this purchase.
Yeah, but there was drawbacks for not having realtors because, as everybody know, realtors are your mouthpiece and your middle person, and we didn't have that. So there was some kind moments. It was some pretty rough moments, and then there were calm moments again. So it went up and down, but we all had a good relationship that ended up working out. So we was able to get a contract on the house. So we got closing dates and all that stuff. So we was set. So we went back home and we started getting things together, prepared, and closer it got to the closing date, the more exciting it got. I had a little anxiety going on, but we fly over the day before closing, and then something crazy happened the night before the closing. What happened, Selena?
Island-wide power outage.
OMG! Yes, that is when the island-wide blackout happened, and it was crazy. So we didn't spaz. We was at our friend's house in Cantano.
In Puerto Rico, they don't spaz or stress or anything like
Business
that.
as usual. So we went the island way, business as usual. We went to sleep. No stresses, no worries. We woke up the next morning, talked to the realtor, talked to the sellers, and everybody was on board. We still was going to meet, praying that there was power at the Starbucks we was closing at, and it wasn't. But we got there, and the seller said, "Hey, you know what? I think I know a place had power."
Yep. They have the place with a generator.
They had power. So we was able to do our closing, go to the bank, take care of all the necessary paperwork right after the closing. And one of the strangest things happened when we got to the house.
We had power.
We had power. In Puerto Nuevo, only in our location had power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we had the keys to the house, and we went directly to Home Depot and filled up at that time the rental car and start getting new locks, new supplies to clean, and all the things we had to do with the house.
We were very blessed that the things that we needed were like at Home Depot. Our car had been shipped over, and because of the power outage, there was no school, and it was like government buildings were closed. So we could not get our car, and we could see the car, but we could not get the car from the dock because the hacienda was closed because they didn't have any power. So
we'll do another video on the shipping of the vehicle that we will put all that funny information in. All right, so we're back. Had a little technical difficulties we had to get fixed. So we had went to Home Depot and got all our supplies and got back to the house, and we started doing our cleaning and painting. I was changing locks, and we was just getting it in. Most days we got up. We was on spring break, first of all. Oh, goodness. From 5 in the morning is when I got up, because that's usually the time I get up anyway. So I was like, might as well be productive while Selena was asleep. So I started doing my tasks. We both had tasks that we had to do. And Selena got up very early, earlier than she normally do, about 7-ish. And we would work some nights to 12, 1 o'clock until we set a curfew for ourselves.
okay.
Yeah. So we were working really, really hard getting the house as close to being finished as we could before we had to go back to work in Virginia.
One thing, a lot of people feel that you can't find a lot of things in Puerto Rico, and I think you just have to be willing to go look for things. We found most of our things we wanted at Home Depot. Before we even bought the house, the time before when we visited, we went to stores like Room Store. We went to different furniture stores, believe it or not. They have a Sears, and they have a Kmart. I think Kmart is closing over there, what I heard, but the last time we were there, they actually had it. So we were able to find like our toilets, our cabinets, decorations. They do have a Costco and a Sam's Club. So there's lots of opportunities to find things in Puerto Rico, and we found those things when after we closed.
Yeah. Yeah. So the whole process was long, daunting. With some adjectives.
I thought it was great because
It was.
it was awesome because even with the power outages, we were still able to get so much done in the short amount of time that we were there. And our neighbors had generators, so it's like 1 second you have power, and the next second they still had power because they had generators, but the generators would just come on just like that. The neighborhood.
So it was pretty cool. So we got the house as close as we could before we had to go back. And so towards the end, Selena's cousin had came. Well, actually in the beginning she came to help, and they did a lot. Everybody did a lot of work, and big kudos out to Yolanda, cousin. So I set a curfew. I was like, okay, 11 o'clock is it. So like the last 4 days, 3 days, the last 3 days we wouldn't work past 11, 11:30, and then we had to do some fun stuff. So that's what we did. So, but from beginning to end, there was a lot of moving parts. But thanks to the help of all of the YouTube videos that we looked at from sun up to sundown on most days, from the time we got home from work to the time we went to bed. There's just tons of videos, useful videos that's out there. So we want to thank all the YouTube bloggers out there for putting all that information out, and we just wanted to document our journey just like they did, because every video that we looked at gave us more insight on things to do. So the upcoming videos that we're going to talk about are the shipping of our furniture, that process, what company we use, how long it took, the whole thing. Also shipping of our car from Virginia to Puerto Rico. We're going to talk about getting the utilities, hooking up
Getting the
utilities.
utilities on, and the walk
Yeah.
around the house.
We have some house before and after house videos we're going to share. So yeah, then after that we'll be doing some adventure videos while we're in Puerto Rico. So we look forward to all of our upcoming fans, people who will like our page, uh, just to help anybody that's either moving, coming to visit. So that's what our goal is, just to share our experience. All right. Okay. Again, I'm Pierre,
And I'm Selena.
and we are the Howard's Adventures. Thank you for watching.